Well, it's almost the end of another day. It's kind of early to call it the end of the day, but I decided to make this video now, my wrap-up video for this day, because at the albergue we're staying at, like 100 feet down the street, there's a gentleman who says he's a chef and he's going to cook for us all, and we're going to chip in and help him pay for all the food. So it's kind of exciting. We'll see what happens. He's talking about pay. I had a very easy day of walking. In fact, even with walking around different towns, I've only accrued about 12 miles. It wasn't that far from Villafranca Montes de Oca to where I'm sitting here in Atapuerca. This town is very small, but just outside of town there is a huge archaeological site. I had to watch a little documentary about it, and many years ago they were putting a railroad through and they discovered many fossils and remains, and that spurred a huge archaeological dig. And over the years, as they've gone deeper and deeper and further back into the mountain, they have found human remains purportedly dating back to, well, at first it was 200,000 and 500,000 years, and now perhaps well over 1 million years. So very interesting. And in fact, I'm sitting right in front of the tourist office here in Atapuerca, and I was in there earlier today. It's closed now. And some of the displays are absolutely fascinating, showing pictures of some of the things that they have found nearby. In a day, we will be in Burgos, Spain, and there in Burgos we're going to, perhaps, I'm going to really try to get to the museum that houses some of the artifacts that were found here. Might not seem quite fair that the museum is in here, but it's not far away in Burgos, which is the major city in this region. Also in Burgos, we'll find the medieval festival, which is what most of my group is more excited about. And I'll go to that too, as it actually sounds like a lot of fun. So I said in another video, which I'll show you, about finding a gentleman along the way. I can tell you a little more of that story. You're going to sweeten the pot. You'll see a little bit of it, and perhaps you see the pictures from it. I'll post them here. But what happened was, I was walking along, I see lights in the distance. I was walking by myself. It was still dark, and there were lights in the distance, and it looked like car lights, and I was a little concerned. I pulled out my app just to make sure I was still on track by GPS, and yeah, these lights were definitely on the path. And as I get closer, I could hear music, which is very unusual for early in the morning, in the dark, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a pine forest. And as I got closer, I found this man had a couple tables set up, and he was selling coffee. I had not yet had my coffee. He was selling some food. I had not yet had anything to eat. So I stopped and I chatted with him, and for donation, perhaps let's say a guided donation, he would give you coffee and food and entertain you a little bit. So I spent a few minutes with him, and his name was Angel. And as I asked him if I could take a picture, and he had to turn off, he was wearing a headlight, he had to turn it off, and he says, "Make me famous." So I took a picture of him, just kind of the highlight of my morning. The walk is not difficult at all. Coming out of the town, it's fairly steep, and it's not really even all that steep. It's just a long upgrade, a long grade up the mountainside, and then you're in the pine forest, and it's just all nice slope downhill from there. Funny thing, I thought it was the easiest day, and yet others who we have come to meet in this journey were complaining about how soul sucking, and I just thought it was a great easy walk through a pine forest. I thought it was wonderful. And the weather here is, as they're telling us, unseasonably warm. And in one video before I left, one of the things that I talked about was how to find the temperature historically. A lot of people ask, what's it like there at that time of year? How do I know how to prepare? And one of the ways that you can do that is if you go to a weather site that gives historical information, like Weather Underground, you can actually go back to any year you want and see what the temperatures were on that day. And as I said in that video several weeks ago, I typically find that the weather starts out at about 50 degrees here, and it does, and typically goes into the 60s, but untypically for right now, the weather is going up into the 80s. Yesterday was nice and cool. It was a beautiful day to walk, and we did about 16 miles. Today, the temperatures got a little bit warm in the afternoon, but we just did a short day to be here and to check out some of the sites here. Very small town, Atapuerca, A-T-A-P-U-E-R-C-A. I'm reading that off of the restaurant. I'm leaving that off the restaurant right up the street. There's a small restaurant. There's also a small cafe. And earlier we went up to the cafe and we had some cervezas and some pizza. We were all kind of hungry, and everybody else who seemed to be checking into the albergue right down the street that way agreed, and they're all up there. So looking forward to the rest of a great day and the rest of the day, and I'll check it in with you soon. And now I'm going to roll some footage I shot earlier in the day. I'm going to show some pictures, always set to music. I try to keep it pleasant. And those pictures, in my heart, those pictures are really what provide the essence of the day. The good, the bad, being with others, being alone, everything that the Camino possesses. Well, I left Villafranca Montes de Oca this morning. It's still dark. It's light now, very nice. Hello, Nigel. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Just trumming along. It's nice and easy this
Beautiful day today, yes. After that uphill.
Yes.
Yeah. So we had some uphill out of Villafranca, but not too rough. I think we're getting used to it. Somebody's done a significant amount of work here. Including a stop sign. But there's nobody here.